Okay, so I've just sent the live notifications. I'm Melinda NailFanatic, and we are at the 2020 Love, Peace, and Happiness Retreat. And we are doing this all online this year so that everybody can attend while they're enjoying your quarantine the best you can. For this segment, we're going to read some excerpts and have a little bit of commentary. And you can, of course, put your commentary in the comments regarding this book. This book came to me because I have this hobby that I indulge in sometimes, which is to go find books that I'm guided to at secondhand shops. And it's brought some great titles. This is another one that I found that way. Love, love, love. Anyways, this book is entitled Maharishi's Supreme Offer to the World, to Every Individual and to Every Nation, Enlightenment and Invincibility. So I want to tell you a little bit about a technique. It's called Transcendental Meditation because that's what this is. This book discusses Transcendental Meditation. On Google, I looked up the term to explain it as simply as possible. It says the Transcendental Meditation Technique, or TM, is a form of silent mantra meditation developed by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. The meditation in practice involves the use of a mantra and is practiced for 20 minutes twice per day while sitting with one's eyes closed. So that's what Transcendental Meditation is. I also wanted to discuss the meaning of the word syncretism because I want you to know that this is like a yogic practice, okay? But I am not a part of any religious or spiritual organization. I believe in syncretism, and this is what syncretism is. It's a noun. It says the amalgamation or attempted amalgamation of different religions, cultures, or schools of thought. So it's like the coherence within the different schools of religion and thought and belief and how they actually meld together, which reflects back on the Kabbalion, because the Kabbalion, as we read yesterday, all the 7 Hermetic principles, these are the foundation and basis for all the beliefs that are taught in all the religious traditions. And so with syncretism, it's a seeing how this represents that over here. And in this faith, it represents that. And this is how that faith expresses it. And this is how that faith expresses it. And the reason I like this is because I love the idea of synergy. Synergy is also a noun. It says the interaction or cooperation of 2 or more organizations, substances, or other agents to produce a combined effect greater than the sum of their separate effects. So it's like when you have 2 components that are cooperative and they work together and they meld together, by joining it all together, it becomes intensified exponentially in its power. So, hello, Georgina. Grateful to have you here. We're going to go ahead. I've highlighted some pages I want to read from this. And the first thing I want to do is I want to show you the Meisner effect. The Meisner effect. There, I posted this. Some of you may have seen it on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or here on YouTube on the community tab. On one side here, we have radical thought processes that are scattered. We have scattered, and I'm going to read from this book to explain it further. But over here, everything is very cohesive. Everything is very cohesive, and these waves are the external energies. And if you'll notice in this, because everything is radical and just everywhere and scattered, these energies can easily penetrate and enter in and go through everything and touch everything there because everything is so scattered. Now here, everything is so unified and so cohesive that it forms like a invisible force field, and all these waves must go around it. So this is a picture of my vibe goes ahead, behind, and all around me. And my vibe is my security. So this is like, this in a picture is low vibe versus high vibe. When you're low vibe, everything comes in and affects you. When you're high vibe, the bullshit must skip you. So I want to read about this table and this chart, but before I do, no, I'll do that now. So the ordinary conductor, on the side with all the arrows, the scattered side, it says incoherent, disordered electrons allow penetration by external magnetic field. So thoughts that are not synergistic, energy that is not synergistic, electrons that is not synergistic, or in their order, allows themselves to be penetrated by external magnetic fields, energy that is external to you. The superconductor is the one that's more coherent, the wave one. It says, coherent collective state of highly ordered electron flow acts to spontaneously reject external magnetic influence and maintains its impenetrable status, and this is invincibility. So why is it so important to be so in tune to your vibration, so in tune to your thoughts? Because it gives you invincibility. Is that a good enough reason to pay attention to how you feel, what you're thinking, what you're talking? You want to be invincible to where no outside force can penetrate you, no outside energy can influence you, and you could just be? Man, look, I haven't mastered this yet, but I'm at the place of mastery that I am, and I sure am glad I am there, because I'm going to continue to work on this for myself and do better and better at this every day, as best as I can. I'm doing the best I can every day, and all I can do is keep doing that, and it gets better. So wherever you are in this energy of balancing your own self, raising your vibration, steadying that raised vibration, making it your common, regular, baseline vibration, give yourself respect and honor, because wherever you're doing that, it can get better. Now, some of you will want to look into transcendental meditation, but even just from its description in the Google definition, it's 20 minutes of meditation twice a day. Focus on powerful affirmations, empowering affirmations. Now, interestingly enough, what I'm seeing is, imagine if focusing on powerful meditations 20 minutes a day can do this for you. Of course, now the balance on the opposite side must be true. This is why we tell you to be nice to yourself. Stop beating yourself up. Stop judging yourself so harshly, and stop talking shit to yourself, because that is a form of transcendental meditation, but it's not beneficial. It's focusing on thoughts that are damaging to yourself, and they're creative too. And what do they create? They create that energy where everything can come in and mess with you. Okay. So where do we start, listeners? God, where do we start in this? I want to share something that really got me about this book. First off, inside the cover of this book, when I finally brought it, because it sat on the shelf for a while. I've told you this before. I'll get books and they'll just sit there until I'm drawn to look at them. Let me put on the lights. Until I'm drawn to look at them. And when I finally was drawn to look at this book, I noticed inside the front cover of the book, inside the front cover, look at this picture. Okay. And it says, enlightenment to every individual, invincibility to every nation. 1978, fourth year of the age of enlightenment. The year of invincibility to every nation. Guess what year I was born? 1978. So this was further confirmation for me of who I am, what I am, why I came here, and why this book came to me. So Welcome to the show, Georgina, Sherry, Jasmine, Kat. So thankful and grateful that you're here. And Kat says, since I started raising my vibration, I lost so many people and I just want to be left alone. And it's just like, yeah, that's kind of what happens. That's what happens. You raise your vibration and the shit that don't match your vibration can't touch you. And that is her physical experience of that image that I just showed you. And you will experience that. So let's see. This is the picture of Maharishi. I don't remember his whole name. That's his picture, the same one that's on the front. And apparently they have their international capital of the Age of Enlightenment in Seelisberg, Switzerland. There's a picture of that. Now I want to bring up something else. Switzerland is said to be one of the happiest places on earth. And that's where they have their capital, okay? So that's something to consider. All right, I'm going to get into this reading. Please put any comments in, and as I take a breath and a drink in between, we'll discuss some of the comments as we need to, okay? So under the introduction, it says, a new initiative to bring invincibility to every nation, the scientific basis. So if you like science, you might like this. Some of it might be a little bit meaty, but you can always watch it on a replay, listen to it again, write down words you need to look up definitions to, etc., etc. All right. Let the family of nations face the truth in the presence of the multitude of nuclear weapons today that no nation is competent to defend itself. The only way for any country to get out of this perilous state is to create a situation where conflicts do not arise. The only successful means to avoid conflict and feel secure is to disallow the birth of an enemy. Any country which does not possess the art of disallowing the birth of an enemy will always be insecure and can anticipate disaster at any moment. Pause. So look, he's saying here, you don't even have to have an enemy. An enemy. Somebody has an enemy in their fish tank. And why that's coming up right now, I don't know. Oh. Okay. So, wow. And an enemy it can be very poisonous and it lives in the water. So this is telling me this is toxic energy and emotional based energy is what I'm being shown. Okay. So holding on to toxic emotions is part of creating an enemy. Interesting. Oh, and I hear this is why forgiveness is so important for you. It's not about the other person. It's about you. Okay. Play. The enlightenment of every nation is a goal that is dear to the world government of the Age of Enlightenment. Therefore, the founder of the world government, His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, has designed a program to bring enlightenment to every nation, thereby restoring the cultural integrity of every nation, bringing every nation to the level of invincibility, and freeing the world from fear. Ooh, imagine if the world were free from fear right now. Do you think there'd be a COVID? I'm just saying. Anyways, continuing on, the sovereignty of the world government of the Age of Enlightenment is the domain of consciousness, the prime mover of life, the home of all of the laws of nature. Consciousness in its least excited state is the field of perfect coherence and infinite correlation. The field of infinite harmony and perfect orderliness lying at the basis of all excited states of consciousness. Pause. So remember that yesterday when we read the Kybalion, it spoke about the highest vibration is vibrating so fast that it appears to be unmoving. It appears to be steady. Okay. That is being brought into mind with this last paragraph we just read. When individual awareness opens to this field of pure consciousness during the transcendental meditation technique, a soothing influence of coherence and harmony is generated in the environment. And when even 1% of a population practices the transcendental meditation technique, such a powerful influence of harmony and orderliness is produced in the environment that negative tendencies in the whole society, such as crime, accidents, and conflicts, begin to disappear. Reference materials, it points out, are the scientific research on the Transcendental Meditation Program, collected papers, Volume 1, Reinweiler, W., Germany, Miro Press, 1976. So, when these things begin to disappear, societal tendencies of crime, accidents, and conflicts, this phenomenon is called the Maharishi effect. So, pause on the book. Did you hear it, people? It takes 1% of us to reach the state of coherence, to raise our vibration to that state of peace and love and happiness, to influence our whole society. I want to give the definition of coherence. Some of you needs to hear the definition of coherence. Hold on. Let me just Google this right quick. Coherence. The quality of being logical and consistent. The quality of forming a unified whole. The quality of forming a unified whole. Connection, people, connection, not rejection, a unified whole. How is it done, though? It's done from within. The unified whole must be here. When the unified whole is here, it overflows over there. What do we say during the morning meditation? You gotta do it here, then it'll be there. If you do it here, if you have it here, you'll see it everywhere. Okay, back to the book. So this is called the Maharishi effect. When you start to see the effect in society, there's less crime, there's less violence. It takes 1%. 1 out of 100. Will you be the 1 out of 100 in your neighborhood? I'm just saying. And pause again before we continue on. Listeners, God showed me. Remember yesterday we did the love work where we cast a net together from our own home and our own self all the way to the multiverse, and we went every step in between. Yeah, what you think we was doing there? I'm just saying. Okay. Here we go. This is a way in which the world government administers consciousness to maintain balance and harmony in society and so in the family of nations. By applying the procedures of the Transcendental Meditation Program and TM City Program, the quality of collective consciousness of any country can be raised and national consciousness can be developed to that high level of coherence, which will naturally disallow the birth of an enemy for a nation. This is the latest and most powerful defense measure for any country now in the dawning age of enlightenment. What have I been telling you for so long? It just takes a few of us to anchor down this love, peace, and happiness energy, and what you do affects the collective. And I'm not the only one that's been telling you for so long, okay? Continuing on, the next subheading is Scientific Principles, the Theory of Invincibility. The invincibility of society, as envisioned by the world government of the Age of Enlightenment, is not an isolated phenomenon in nature. Throughout the physical and biological sciences, we may locate principles which give rise to permanence or invincibility. What is universal is that indestructibility seems always to depend upon coherence of collective functioning. One striking illustration is in the physics of superconductivity, the photo we showed, whereby certain metals gain the property of infinite conductivity when the temperature is reduced to a very low level, near absolute zero. The principles of quantum mechanics tells us that states of least excitation are of necessity the most coherent and harmonious states. The onset of superconductivity, a phase transition from a disordered to a very highly ordered state among the electrons of the metal is an example of the generation of a very highly ordered state by means of simply reducing the activity to a sufficiently quiet level. In this, it resembles extremely closely the effect of transcendental meditation technique, which reduces the mental temperature to a state of least excitation and maximum harmony. The state of superconductivity has many remarkable properties issuing from its high degree of coherence. The most striking property is the great stability or invincibility of the superconducting condition. In superconductivity, we find that infinite stability is structured on the basis of infinite flexibility. This is perfectly illustrated by the phenomenon of the Meissner effect. If a magnetic field impinges upon a sample of superconducting material from outside, it is perfectly repelled from the interior. The mechanics of this depend upon the infinitely frictionless ease of the flow of the electrons within the superconductor. When an external field is detected which threatens the integrity of the superconducting state, the electrons at the surface of the sample, able to shift themselves instantaneously by virtue of completely frictionless flow, move in just such a way as to create a second magnetic field that precisely neutralizes the invading field. The overall effect is that the invading field appears to be repelled and to flow around the outside of the superconductor. This phenomenon is closely parallel to the phenomenon of invincibility, which occurs in society as a result of practice of the Transcendental Meditation Program. These principles are not unique in nature. Parallel phenomena of invincibility or indestructibility may be found in many aspects of the physical and biological sciences. In each case, we find that a situation of invincibility is always based upon coherence of collective functioning. Now, I saw a report that said in Switzerland, they're taking COVID a little bit differently. And how is that changing their experience within their societies? Okay, and that's what's coming up. Now, how will you be protected if keeping yourself in this superconductive state, this high vibrational, peaceful state? High vibrational is happy, joy, peace, all these beautiful things, right? Superconductivity, maintaining that vibration. How will that allow you, in being that picture, existing in the state of this photo, to automatically deflect external BS? It's like you have more appearing to be magic and miracles working out for you from existing in this state of being, which was why I wanted to read this. But what I love about this book is it speaks about how us doing it individually affects the collective. Okay, so let's read some more here. It says 1% of the population can create invincibility. That's our next subtitle. The parallel to the behavior of a society is clear. When the citizens taken collectively possess coherence of national consciousness, then any foreign destructive influence will meet an immediate neutralizing effect. This principle of human life was recognized in the ancient Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, wherein it is said that non-killing being established in his presence, all enmities cease. Scientific research on the Transcendental Meditation Program has confirmed that the effect promised by Patanjali comes as a spontaneous result of practicing the Transcendental Meditation technique. In a study of 24 cities, it was shown that 1% of population practicing the Transcendental meditation technique is enough to produce a dramatic decrease in the incidence of crime and other forms of negative social behavior. Recently, 3 other studies covering a total of over 100 cities have independently confirmed this phenomenon, which has been named the Maharishi effect. With this information, the world government of the Age of Enlightenment feels confident in providing and offering to the nations of the world a proven method of generating invincibility. So this book is here helping us to appreciate it really is something that we can influence our world. You sit back and you say, well, there's nothing I can do. Well, apparently, if you could just sit still and be quiet and think a positive thought for 40 minutes a day, 20 early and 20 late, apparently you can bring peace to the world. And it only takes 1 out of 100 people to do it. That means you don't have to get everybody on board. It's just got to be a few of us. What do you think about that? How's that make you feel? How does it make you feel to know that when we sit here and do singing bowls for 20 minutes, when we sit here and we offer words of praise for 20 minutes, when we sit here silent for 20 minutes in gratitude and appreciation, we influence the world to a higher vibration to bring peace. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go to another page. I want to flip to another page. It was drawn to my attention. It says, invincibility, a necessity for every nation. And I want you to feel this more on a global scale, because if we could do it for each nation, we could do it for our planet, for Gaia. Let's do it for Gaia. Do it for Gaia. Hashtag do it for Gaia. I'm just saying. Invincibility means that the nation enjoys freedom from fear, real freedom from fear. Why is invincibility being offered to every nation today? The answer is in just one word: necessity. Invincibility is a necessity today for every nation. It is not a luxury. The other day in Mexico City, a television interviewer asked me, we don't know much about invincibility, although just from the word, it seems to be something good. But it is not a luxury because our problems are poverty, ill health, and all these other social and economic problems. So should we not concentrate on solving these problems rather than talking of something like invincibility, which for us is just an imaginary thing, like a fanciful dream, which has hardly any practical value? I said, invincibility to every nation is not a luxury today. It is a necessity. In fact, it is the first necessity. Why? Simply because no country is capable of defending itself against the nuclear weapons and the electronic warfare methods that are available today. Those people at the top level of society, the administrators, the politicians, the generals, they know this. It's very difficult for them to have restful nights. In a few hours, in a few minutes, any nation could be brought down. Those nations which have a lot of weapons can destroy others, but they cannot avoid destruction in the case the showers of bombs come from the other side. A situation has been created such that every nation is breathing in great fear. I added, no nation is really independent. Some words about freedom may be written in their constitutions and charters, but the life of the nation is not lived in the joy of freedom, but in the fear of annihilation. Therefore, it is essential to be wide awake and alert. The situation is so very disturbing that the tendency is to push it off, to not even think about it. But it is a fact. No nation is capable of defending itself. Pause. That's true. If any one of these nations actually hit the button to bomb the other one, and they all hit the button to bomb the other one, dude, the whole fucking planet would be blown to smithereens, is what I'm hearing. Okay? So, continuing. At such a perilous time, nature has risen through the science of creative intelligence and the Transcendental Meditation Program to offer an antidote to the cruel situation. The Transcendental Meditation Program rises up to say. Now every nation can enjoy invincibility. No one has to live in fear. This is the age of enlightenment, where we have knowledge of the home of all the laws of nature. This is the age in which we can know how to function from the field of all possibilities. The Vedas provide the principles which show us that the innermost field of life is invincible. The transcendental meditation technique is a practical aspect of Vedic wisdom. Integrated individuals bring integration to the nation, and from the nation to the world. We are now offering invincibility to every nation on the basis of rising purity in world consciousness. This purity is being contributed by those few fortunate individuals who are practicing transcendental meditation and the TM City program in all parts of the world. Every practitioner of transcendental meditation enlivens the unbounded field of pure awareness. The influence which he creates goes far beyond the limits of his own body to the community, the nation, the whole world, and to the limitless universe. Praise! Invincibility to every nation is realized through the universal influence of individual consciousness, enlivened through the transcendental meditation program. The togetherness of functioning of the individual's mind and body, of the various parts of his nervous system, produces togetherness in the family of nations. So, I love the part in this book where he mentions that the influence that one of us creates, who gets into this meditational state of consciousness, goes far, and we've said this how often on this channel, goes far beyond your body to your community, your nation, your whole world, and the limitless universe, the entire universe. So let's look at some of the comments here. You're welcome. Georgina says she's grateful for my energy and for my voice. And Sherry says, one who is in alignment is more powerful than millions who are not. This is true. And we are thankful to Abraham and Esther and all of that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's see, did we have anything else we needed to discuss at this time from this book, Listeners God? Yes, okay, here we go. I found this chapter I'm going to read. Now, what it appears to be is that this book is like a collection of his talks. It's just like if I was to make when I make a book of all the talks that I've ever done, it would look something like this. It's like him making a book of all the talks he's ever done. Okay. So this is chapter 23, part 5, Dawn of the Age of Enlightenment. My spirit saw this in the what is this called? Oh God, the chapter outline in the table of contents. Thank you. And was drawn to it. So it says, addressed by His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, inaugurating the dawn of the age of enlightenment aboard the flagship Goddard on Lake Lucerne, Switzerland on 12th of January, 1975. That's when this talk was given. And I hear, let's stop and give a moment of gratitude to the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, as well as all those in that energy who have produced, spoke, believed, known, seen, taught, shared this energy, this vibe for all the years that brought us here. Praise. Praise. Thank you to all the ancestors, the guides, the masters who have walked this earth, the angels on earth who have walked and taught and been of benefit to us. So here we go. Jai Guru Dev. It is a very great and joyful time for us all today to be recognizing the dawn of the full potential of the human race on earth. We are realizing today the full potential of the human race on earth, and that is in terms of unbounded happiness, harmony, peace, and fulfillment. This recognition is on the basis of scientific verification and scientific validation of our teaching in the world for the last 17 years. We have been teaching the knowledge that we receive from Guru Dev, our master, his divinity. We like to adore him as his divinity. We don't find words adequate enough to name him. We call him his divinity. It is our great joy. It is the joy of appreciation of the knowledge that he conferred on us. We rejoice in saying his divinity, Swami Brahmananda Saraswati, Jagadguru Bhagavan Shankaracharya of Jyotirmath in the Himalayas. If you know what that means, let me know. The light of his knowledge as it spreads in all parts of the world in the last 17 years by our very humble efforts, and the waves of joy that we were feeling as we were going around the world teaching transcendental meditation to single individuals here and there and there. All these different innumerable waves have now gathered together to form a tidal wave of hope on the evidence of concrete results that the knowledge has produced in the lives of about 1 million people today. On that basis, what we see is the onset of a better society, the onset of a better world, the onset of a happy age, the onset of the age of fulfillment, the onset of the age of wholeness in life, the onset of the age of enlightenment. This we know because it has been verified, objectively verified and subjectively verified, repeatedly, month after month and year after year, ever since we started the movement. Science has guided us to the dawn of a new age. It's very fortunate that the different sciences have developed enough today to be able to recognize the wholeness of life. Physics have developed enough to recognize the basic value of life, which harmonizes everything. It has recognized the integrated state of life, the wholeness of life, which is our direct experience when the mind transcends all activity through the practice of transcendental meditation, where there is no impulsive activity, and which is a state of least excitation. The state of least excitation is the level of all possibilities, the field of perfect order from where all activity springs in accordance with all the laws of nature. No aspect of any activity arising from the state of least excitation violates any natural law, and therefore problems do not arise. The basis of problems is weakness and violation of natural law. That state, being the level of all possibilities, does not allow any weakness, and being perfect order does not allow violation of natural law. Therefore, there is no ground for problems if that field is lively in one's awareness. In this way, the science of creative intelligence renders life free from problems, free from weakness, and therefore free from suffering. Physics is able to account for the entire manifest creation coming out of that unmanifest field of life, which is the direct experience of about 1 million people in the world today. On the basis of the laws known to it, chemistry likewise recognizes that the reaction in the world is just the expression of that non-reacting, unmanifest wholeness of life, the transcendent, absolute, non-changing, non-variable, external, infinite unboundedness of life, which is the inner core of everyone's life. Once we have the experience of that, it's like knowing how to operate on the level of the sap. We can enrich all the aspects of the plant just knowing how to operate on the level of the sap. Experience of consciousness has been our specialization. In the world, we have specialized on that very basic level of life. From what we have experienced and on the basis of scientific experiments, we know today that even when 1% of the people in a city begins to meditate, the trends of that whole city life begin to change. Negativity begins to disappear. Positivity begins to rise. This recognition of the influence of transcendental meditation is the basis on which we are today inaugurating the age of enlightenment for us in this generation and for all generations to come. It is such a great joy to give expression to the phenomenon that is rising up from the darkness of suffering on earth. Throughout the ages, throughout the recorded of history of man, life has been known to be a struggle on both levels, intellectual and experiential. There is even a saying, life is a struggle. Although mankind has been experiencing and understanding life in terms of struggle, we started about 17 years ago on the basis of the blessings of Guru Dev saying, life is bliss. No man needs suffer anymore. It was a surprise to the people all over the world. How could we dare say life is bliss when everywhere life was suffering and everywhere life was a struggle? Everywhere it is said to err is human, as if man is born to make mistakes. When this has been the experience of life on earth, how could we dare to say life is bliss? But because of the confidence and the experience given to us by Guru Dev, we know that life is bliss. It is unbounded deep within, and it is full of boundaries outside. So we advise the people to turn the attention within, experience the unbounded wholeness of life, and bring the mind out fully saturated with that. Start to live unboundedness in the field of boundaries. Although not believing our words, people started. And once they started, they experienced. Like that, from individual to individual, the experience spread in the midst of those expressions. Life is bliss. No man needs suffer anymore. This went on year after year. Pause. If you love what you're doing, you do what you love, and it works for you, and just hold that vibration, others will too. Play. About 2 weeks ago, I heard that there was a large number of cities in the world where the crime rate had gone down. When the statistics were researched, we found that when the number of people in the city practicing transcendental meditation reached 1%, then the crime rate went down. So if 1% of the people with a little bit more orderly minds and others moving around on the streets could change the tendencies of the people, then it is possible now to create a new world. It is possible now to create a society free from problems. It is possible now to eliminate suffering from society. It is possible. Inauguration of the dawn of a new age is just declaring this possibility on the basis of scientific validation. We are in the scientific age. Anything we want to do, anything we want to work on, we want to feel confident that we are not on false grounds. So on the basis of scientific experiments and scientific research carried out in different parts of the world during the last 5 years, and on the basis of what has been demonstrated in the lives of the individuals and in the lives of the cities as a whole, we have confidence in our vision. Now, what we want to proclaim to the world is that this is the age of the rewind, do-overs. Now what we want to proclaim to the world is that this is the dawn of the age of enlightenment. Where? In society. Individuals don't have to remain in ignorance. Ignorance is the worst sin that a man can ever commit. Ignorance is the basis of all suffering and all weakness. Once we are in the light of life, which is unbounded, eternal, indestructible, infinite, rising to that light of life, life will not be lived in suffering. Life will not have to move through problems. Society does not have to continue living with problems. Nations in the world do not have to continue to live with problems. Here is the declaration of the possibility of the age of enlightenment, which can be the dawn of the bright sunshine of the age of enlightenment. It can be brought about in any country at any time now. This is our joy. In any country wheresoever, whatever the condition today, whatever has been the story till yesterday, it does not matter. Here is the proclamation of the possibility that any country can rise to the highest state of harmony, happiness, and freedom from problems and suffering at any time the people of the country demand or desire. This is the proclamation today. In this proclamation, we inaugurate the dawn of the age of enlightenment. When the dawn is there, it should not take a long time for the light to be seen. It is our experience that the first ray of the rising sun is good enough to dispel the darkness of the night. It takes time for the sun to come up and to become bright midday sun, yet the first ray of the rising sun is good enough to eliminate the darkness. Praise! Today we are declaring in all confidence on the basis of the subjective experience of about 1 million people in the world, and on the basis of objective verification from the different sciences, from all of the hundreds of experiments performed in the field of physiology, psychology, sociology, ecology, that all the various aspects of life are enriched and developed through the practice of TM. When the body becomes better, the mind becomes better, the behavior becomes better. With this orderly brain, a few people, 1%, 0.5% moving around in the city can improve the trends of life. It requires only a few people, just a few people. What do those few people have to do? 15 minutes morning and evening, less gossip, and close the eyes. Fathom the depth of unboundedness deep within one's own consciousness. Realize that fullness of life, that wholeness of life, that level of enlightenment which is kindled within, deep within everyone's heart. Unfold that, experience that, and that is enough to make the whole day more orderly. Life in orderliness, life in accordance with all the laws of nature. For about 17 years throughout the world, we have been asked by people concerned with society, your meditation is all right for the individual, but what about the society? We have been saying that the individual is the unit of society. If individuals become better, the society will become better. We felt confident. The logic is self-sufficient. But now, today, this new finding of the statistics on entire cities, that when the number of meditators reaches 1%, the trend of city life changes. This evidence provided by science is much greater than the logic we have been using so far. Now we say we don't mind what 99 people are doing. 1 in 100 will do the trick. This confidence comes from science, from mathematics, from statistics, from the history of what city life has been so far. My joy today is the joy of the gardener who has been watering the root of the tree day by day and day by day and day by day. The tree has been growing, and the growth of the tree was his joy. The leaves came and the branches came more and more, longer and wider and fresher. The flowers blossomed, and then the fruit came. And now the season of spring comes when the fruits are becoming ripe. When the gardener says, now the fruits are coming. Every day there is a greater joy, a greater wave of joy, even when he sees that now he can say, oh, the fruits are there. The tree has grown enough to start giving fruits. The sight of the fruits, the possibility of finding the fulfillment of all his labor day after day, year after year, watering the root. Now there is the fruit, which is to grow and become ripe and sweet. All this will be the fruit of knowledge, eaten by the whole population on earth. When we designed the 7 goals of the World Plan in 1972, we made one of the goals to enrich governmental achievements based on our thought that the knowledge was so beautiful, the practice was so simple and natural, that once we called the attention of any government to it, they would pick it up. We approached some governments. Through our feelers there, we found that either the letter didn't reach the head of state, or he knew of the letter, but he didn't have time to read it. He was so sunk in problems, so preoccupied, that he didn't have time to look to the call of solution. Now, when we are inaugurating the dawn of the age of enlightenment, we are stronger in ourselves. No matter what the governments want to do, irrespective of their attitudes towards themselves or towards us, the world is going to be a better world. Because to make the world better now does not depend on anything. Whether the governments understand it or don't understand it, whether this man understands it or that man understands it, it does not matter. What the scientific experiments have given us is a great confidence in our approach. The world is going to be a better world, irrespective of people listening to us or not listening to us. We are inaugurating the age of enlightenment today on the basis that the inevitability that the world will become better because of one beautiful thing that we have found. The nature of life is to grow. 99 people can violate their own nature to grow and maybe weave around non-growth. One man having a desire to evolve, having a desire to progress, having a desire to grow by nature, he'll take up TM. On that basis, he will start producing a harmonious influence around him without knowing how he does it, without knowing the mechanics of how the radiations go from a more orderly mind to influence the less orderly minds around him. Without knowing it, invariably, he'll be producing a harmonious influence on the whole society. Then the whole of society will find a trend in the direction of evolution. What is necessary is just a small area in the whole room to become lighted, and the whole room becomes lighted. What is a bulb? A very small filament. How much room is that in relation to the whole volume of the room? A very insignificant area. Yet, it becomes lighted, and the whole room becomes lighted. One simple, single individual brain becoming a little bit more orderly. How much more orderly could one become in 15 minutes with all the chaos and disorderliness of the whole day? But that little orderliness increasing in the mind of an individual is good enough to radiate its influence. One small filament becoming lighted is enough to light the whole room. Like that one person, one slightly enlightened person is good enough for the whole society. It's a blessing for the whole society. And it is this strength that makes us today inaugurate this age of enlightenment. The personal advantages of TM are so enormous, and now they are validated by scientific experiments. Therefore, any intelligent man will not be able to resist it for very long. There are more than enough intelligent people in the world to start TM for their own individual benefit. Even not believing in the process, the moment they come across it, the influence is there. And that influence will radiate in society, and the whole society will become better and better. Our movement is on that level of the nature of life. It has always been like that. When we trace back the development of the movement, it has been only spontaneous, natural, simple. Absolutely simple and natural has been the structuring of the steps of progress of our movement. This day, the day of inauguration, also came spontaneously. During silence, I felt when science is verifying the thing, validating the effects that physiology and psychology and sociology and ecology are improving through meditation, when the growth of the movement has been so spontaneous and natural, it's worthwhile expressing what is already happening. This inauguration of the Age of Enlightenment is an expression of a phenomenon that is already happening. When I reviewed the information of the scientific research, I found that I should have done this 3 years ago, because there are cities in the world that now have 3% of the population meditating. This we should have caught 2 or 3 years ago, when these cities had only 1% of the population meditating. So we are late in inaugurating this Age of Enlightenment, 2 or 3 years behind time, but it doesn't matter. We are being dragged by the time. The Age of Enlightenment is dragging us on, and it's going to drag the whole world. It's going to take the world out of the darkness of the age of ignorance. On this dragging influence, our time is our strength in inaugurating the Age of Enlightenment today. The light of knowledge is so powerful. This is because it is on the basis of the nature of life. It's a natural phenomenon, which is irresistible. It must be irresistible. So the only proclamation that we have to make is stop suffering. This we have to proclaim to all the governments in all the countries in all the world. Now it is not necessary to continue living with problems. Have about 1% of the people practicing TM in your country, and you will find yourself coming out of problems. Nature knows how best to organize, because our whole movement is on the basis of nature. Inner nature of life, outer nature of life. What we are doing is integrating the inner nature and the outer nature of life. We are just producing the integrated state of life. And that integrated state of life is the wholeness of life. And that wholeness of life is the full light of life. When all the people are enlightened, we will have the Age of Enlightenment brilliantly becoming a living reality for millennia to come. This is our joy. We are only left with the waves of joyfulness. At this very precious moment for the whole world, I feel highly emotional towards Guru Dev. I don't know how to express the gratitude. The age-old knowledge was there, but it needed Guru Dev to whisper it out and make it available to the world. We are so full of feelings of gratitude on this auspicious, highly momentous occasion for the whole world. We can only say Jai Guru Dev, or close the eyes and be at his feet in the wholeness of life. Meditate. Deep in silence, we express our gratitude in expressions, in words. we express our gratitude. We have the picture of Guru Dev. I would like to put a garland on Guru Dev, and then we'll meditate. It's our very great fortune today that we have recognized a wave of new life dawning on earth. What happens generally is that when one lives in that atmosphere, one doesn't recognize in what great blessing one is. So it has been very unique that we recognize it today. This word, this news, the event of the inauguration of the Age of Enlightenment will soon go to all parts of the world, and the world will start becoming better. Our world plan, this is a year of fulfillment for the world plan, and its efforts that we have made to implement the world plan ever since we started it in 1972 are now fruitful, fulfilled, and having given rise to the Age of Enlightenment. So here we have a photograph of the Maharishi inaugurating the dawn of the Age of Enlightenment on the flagship Gothard at Lake Lucerne. I know that the reading was kind of long. I hope you were able to follow along. I hope you understand that this book was written, and this commentary that we just gave, this talk was given in 1975. The front of this book declared 1978, the Age of Invincibility to all nations. I mean, this book is old. The information in this is old. How much more advanced is this energy now? We're in 2020, people. He was talking about the dawning of the age of Aquarius. He was talking about the new Christ consciousness. He was talking about us and where we are. So now do you understand why your meditation, listening to your intuition, and being in that state of love and peace and happiness and love and peace and happiness is so beneficial? Because, you know, one of the things that we've learned through our divine downloads is that being in that state of love, peace, and happiness is a form of meditation. Now we know that you don't have to sit silently for 20 minutes to be in meditation. You could dance around your living room singing your favorite upbeat songs for 20 minutes, and you're doing it. You're doing it. Whoa, you're doing it. My body is responding. Oh my God, it's been a while since we did this live on the show. I mean, it happens to me all the time, but it's been a while since it's been live on the show. The whole body just responded like crazy. Oh, Lord. Anyways, you are doing it. And the energy has picked up so much. The energy has picked up. They were doing it in 1972. They were doing it in 1978. I just turned 42 years old. For 42 years, no, plus 6, 48 years, this has for sure been going on, where people have consciously known that by their meditation, they can influence the people around them and bring peace. And then in 2020, everybody was made to isolate themselves. I wonder what percentage of society, I hear at least 4. I hear at least 4 worldwide is what I'm hearing. At least 4% of society worldwide. And 4 could be even symbolic, I'm showing, of enough to stabilize, right? And we talked and channeled a lot during our recent shows about being that anchoring effect, right? Enough, yeah, started meditating. They'd been putting it off. They were too busy with work. They were too busy running around. They had too many engagements to go to, so many social things to do. And now they have time to sit with themselves, to meditate, to pray, to affirm. So when you think about 2020 and for the millennia to come, just like the book said, this is going to influence millennia. This change is going to be permanent. Society is on the brink of a change that the last 3 and 4 and 5, all the previous generations, they couldn't even imagine what it's about to be. And you and I, and how we hold ourselves in this vibration, in this higher frequency, we are anchors for that. We are part of that. We are not alone. We are connected to everyone. So with all that being said and done, let me check the time. It is about to be 5 o'clock here. So I'll be live again at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Pacific time. I will send out the notifications to those of you who have requested them. If you want them, go below the box in the description of the video until we return. Thank you for joining me for this Love, Peace, and Happiness retreat. I love you. See you in a minute. Later.